Yo, it's happening. It's happening. Harumiya, or as some would call it, Hori-san, is getting an anime adaptation. Well, I mean, it had one before, but now it's happening again. And you probably want to know if the story's good, and if you should watch it. And I got an answer to that question because I have read it, but I've also watched it before, and also now.
What?
Listen, what I'm saying is I know the series and I know it well, and I can tell you a good adaptation from a bad one. And if you're an impatient jerk that doesn't care about all this work I'm putting in, here's a timestamp for a yes or no answer right now. So let me just say here right off the bat, this is probably not gonna go like a normal review would go. What they do right, what they do wrong, what makes it special, books in that garbage. No. This right here is why you should fucking watch Harumiya. I'm gonna tell you why in a clear and concise way without all that boring fucking, oh yes, I'm too cool to actually talk about anime shit that everyone's got going on right now who talks about anime. No, I straight up, without any sense of irony or cynicism, love this series. And I'm going to talk about it in a way that reflects that shit. Yo. So the issue is, how can I write about this series? I mean, how can I say something that you won't have already heard regurgitated at you 1,000 times when you come across this video? What fresh and clean way can I talk about this show while still retaining my honest opinion? Actually, I'm gonna cut myself off. I think I'm getting ahead of myself and should start with the basics and feel my way through that. So then, Hori to Miyamura, or Harumiya, which is what I'm gonna be calling this, was originally a rom-com manga series that started in 2011. Jesus, say that twice. And it's still being added to today. That is an entire 10 years. It was written by Hiro, who has worked on these other mangas, and was illustrated by whose works include these, which I'm putting in case you recognize something you like. Harumiya is about Hori and Miyamura. You take the two names and smush them together, bam, you have the title. These two are normal high schoolers that lead incredibly different lives away from their school, and by happenstance find each other in the wild and out of their school modes. And this is it. This right here, guys. I'm for real. This is the big kahuna, the grand panacea of the story. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, come on, Sparky. There's more to it than that. There's got to be like themes and concepts and other garbos I hear other people talk about on their YouTube channel. Well, let me make a couple points right now. One, they're stupid and I'm not. Two, the main crux of the series falls on the setup placed here in the initial episode or chapter. Everything important to the craft that is story leans on these characters. Here's some words. Here's some words that got to do with storytelling. They're important. Here's them in list of importance. This guy wrote that in this book. I'm not gonna bring this up again. The themes in regard to the story is all about secrets and keeping people out in a figurative sense. It's about feeling your way around a person and getting to know someone as a person instead of a character. You know, instead of as a character that you have of them in your head. And therefore the story and themes comes from the characters. And yada yada, what I'm saying is like cool and whatever, but so is covering yourself in oil and flying through the rain. The real question is on the execution of these ideas. Surprise, surprise, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. So there's this term I like to use called cutesy anime bullshit, which I think many are fairly familiar with. Like, you know, the cutesy neko chibi wholesome 100 fucking big chungus moments that plague a lot of animes. It's like this strange form of fan service that takes advantage of our guttural need for the main characters to have a good time, whereas in the situation, the story itself becomes secondary to the calm and relaxed moments. It's like if a coffee shop AU got its own series. And while I'm making a point to mention this aspect, I want to make it clear that while Harumiya has these moments, they're not the entirety of the show. And the thing is, I'm starting with this point because I want to make it clear to anyone that's tepid on this series because of this tag right here. There are a lot of times people will obsess over these cute laid back moments that I'm talking about and upload pages of clips of just these happenings and nothing else. Slapping the romantic comedy label on something may make you believe that you're getting into a series where there will be zero character development or stakes at all, but that's not the case here, and I want to make it very clear. This is a high school drama with jokes. This isn't a silly moments factory with maybe one or two moments that make you feel something. It's got drama, it's got stakes, it's got good characters, which is what the next paragraph will be about. Here's the words again, I fucking tricked you. What blew me away about reading the manga is how multifaceted the characters are. Being about the multiple kinds of masks you have to wear around others, each character needs to be three-dimensional because everything kind of hinges on that. You know, it's like how you talk to your girlfriend versus your mom or something. Or dad. And let me tell you my opinion right now. The main drawing factor of this series for me was how well this is all pulled off. Miyamura It's probably one of the most realistic depictions of a human I've ever seen in manga and in anime and in real life. The way this young man is able to slide between different modes, especially at the introduction of the middle school friend, is just so raw and natural. I love it. And the great part is, it's not just limited to the main characters either. Friends and side characters are almost obliged to be more interesting and fleshed out than normal sidekicks. Because of the subject matters of secrets and closing people off and letting them in, and the third example, all the characters have to be interesting. This also means that drama consistently stays on the characters too. The melodrama that exists within the plot doesn't feel forced or detached. Each problem comes from within the characters and has to do with some deep-seated misunderstanding. Issues I haven't seen touched in other series like get full frontal arcs in Horibori. It feels real. It feels raw. It feels personal, and because of the skillful ability to always make the drama about the characters, it's engaging for the audience, me. There aren't weak story arcs, there aren't weak characters to focus these arcs around, and there aren't even weak chapters. Okay, no, hold up. Yeah, the story isn't 100% at all times, nor do I think any manga ever could be. Instead, the series feels real, consistently. But you know what else is real? Nothing. Nothing happening in your life is real. So due to the series' focus on the real, little holes can pop up here and now. I talk a lot about how caricature and exaggerated personalities help a story go along in other videos. You see, with ridiculous characters, we don't have to suspend our disbelief around the situations they get into because the characters have already loosened us up to the idea of ridiculous. We don't question an ongoing drama's incessant need to throw shit around all the time because it's not real and it doesn't need to feel real. So when something like this comes along with less exaggerated personalities, there needs to be breaks in between the drama because that's how real life works. And if that's not the case for you, please find new friends. This downtime, though, really works, as the cutesy anime bullshit that comes between the story arcs really works as like a poke center, a way to rejuvenate and relieve stress that may have carried over from the ending of the last arc. And while I'm making it out to seem like this is such a real and genre-defining thing, it's not. It is a rom-com. These are characters and they do get silly at time to time. Despite what I'm saying, this still is a slice of life and can be relaxing and most importantly light, like even in the heat of the drama. To top this off, these light moments always expertly slide into new arcs in a natural way that avoids any emotional juxtaposition or hangovers, if that's what you want to call it, with these young characters. That second part of the sentence doesn't really fit, but I need to transition. My last point I want to talk about is how oddly mature the series is, even though it's based around adolescence. There's a point in which two characters I won't name actually fuck. They have sex. And what blew me away about this is how naturally, or as I've been referring to it, real-y, they handled that drama that came from the sex. It wasn't some big, super blown out of proportion thing that everyone knew about and had issue with. It was a personal thing that came from the vulnerability that comes after an experience like that. It came from not knowing how to deal with emotions that pop up because of your first time. And even when a third party was involved, the drama that came from that was something in character and completely natural. What made me really believe this series came from the heart was how unresolved everything stayed too by the end of it. I mean, because in reality, how can you resolve all of this when you're just some dumb teenager? So how'd the anime do it? Good, it did a good job. You should give it a whirl. But how does the new anime do it? Good, it did a good job. You should give it a whirl. Okay, for real. I like it, but it doesn't captivate me like the manga does. It does a good job, though. It's really fucking pretty. The animation style, which was my main concern from the trailers, is really cool. I don't know, it just looked boring in the PVs. I'm not sure why I got that impression. And as I've been telling you for like the past what's its minutes, the story is fucking good. But I'm a little worried, guys. I'm worried about the pacing. I already feel like the manga goes at a brisk pace when I read it. I need to take breaks in the middle of chapters sometimes, because the passage of time in this series is fucking wild. And an anime having to condense these stories into like 21-minute episodes doesn't give me too much confidence, since this is like the one-to-one adaptation. Also, I don't really like one-to-one adaptations, but I think that's a different video entirely. But only time can tell, and if that's my only concern, that it might go a little too fast and it's whatever. So in my humble opinion, everyone should watch this. Like, for real. It's good. If you like the manga, you definitely like it. I don't know why you're watching this video, but it is a great way to experience the story if you haven't before, especially since this is going to be the thing that is talked about. I'm for real. This is the shit everyone's gonna be talking about on forums and making memes about for, like, the next season. just fucking watch it. Subscribe, close the video, and go fucking watch it. Also, don't pay for Funimation. Funimation's fucking bullshit. Hey, thanks for watching my dumb video. Sorry, I kind of went off there at the end. I hope you enjoyed it, and if this affected your opinion or decision in any way, because that's what this is all about, ain't it? So, legit, thank you for watching this. All my music was made by this cutie named Mare. All his links are in the description. Please buy his music, please. He's so fucking good and cute, and I love him. What the fuck are you doing? Go back and watch the video!